The women's tag team division in WWE has been on fire over the last just this entire year alone. Ever since Paige and Brie Bella won the women's tag team titles at bleh. Excuse me. Sorry about that, guys. Let's restart that, shall we? Ever since Paige and Brie Bella won the women's tag team titles at WrestleMania, more and more tag teams in the women's division have been clamoring for an opportunity at those tag team titles. Those teams include the Irresistible Forces, Fatal Influence, Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, as well as the Ren QCC. Obviously, I am referring to Kendall Gray, and of course the excuse me. The women's speed champion Ren Sinclair. Plus, you also have as well the team of Julia and Kiana James, and you also have the Judgment Day. If they're even still going to be a team later on. As well, excuse me, as well as the team of Michin and BFAB, who have aligned themselves with Jade Cargill over the last couple of months. Lyra Valkyria and Bayley have also been clamoring for that same opportunity. Who else? Fatal Influence I mentioned. Honestly, there's quite a few tag teams that have been clamoring for that opportunity. We've even also seen Chelsea Green attempt to try to get a team up with the current women's U.S. champion Tiffany Stratton, which a part of me wants to see that team work, but a part of me is also asking why. Like, why would Chelsea Green want to team up with Tiffany Stratton, given all the hell that Tiffany was put through at the hands of Chelsea Green and her secret Hervis? So hard to excuse me. Kind of hard to say, but I can tell you one thing. There are only 3 teams that I would like to see challenge for those tag team titles against Paige and the Hall of Famer Brie Bella. First one up, Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. Why is that? The answer is simple. Because of the history that Charlotte Flair has with both Paige and Brie Bella. Let's all not forget about one thing. Actually, 2 things. Number one, Charlotte Flair was the one responsible for breaking Nikki Bella's reign as Divas champion, in which again Nikki held the Divas championship for 300 plus, I think like 301 days if I remember correct. Let's see. I am actually on WWE.com on my second phone here. Let's see. Here we are, Divas Championship. 300 days. Yep. Exactly 300 days was the longest reign of all time. AJ Lee held actually holds the second longest reign at 295 days. And so Charlotte Flair became the last Divas champion before it got retired at WrestleMania 32 in Dallas. And it's weird because because once Nikki Bella dropped the title to Charlotte Flair, she had an opportunity to regain the title, but unfortunately was not able to because, well, usually when you invoke your rematch clause right then and there, it usually ends up backfiring in the end, and it did for the Fearless One, which forced her to be on the shelf due to a neck injury. So Brie Bella has not forgotten about that, and Paige has also not forgotten about the fact that she was the one responsible for bringing Charlotte Flair into the main roster, at least in her eyes anyway. So there's a lot of history between those three women, and let's also not forget Alexa Bliss has had her share of issues with Paige during their time in the original black and gold version of NXT, and there was a lot of beefing over there. But even with that, they never got their rematch for they never got their proper rematch for those tag team titles. And I think it's safe to say that there are a lot of fans that want to see that want to see that matchup take place. But obviously, there are others that think that another team deserves the opportunity, and it might just be this team, the Judgment Day. Everyone knows that the Judgment Day, ever since they kicked Finn Balor out of the family, it seems like the Judgment Day has lost all credibility, if you will, and I don't get why they kicked him out. A part of me is just like still doesn't get it. But I think it has a lot to do with the fact that Finn Balor had in the eyes of Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio, it seemed like Finn Balor was holding the Judgment Day back. But in reality, I feel like it was the Judgment Day that was holding Finn Balor back, not the other way around. But obviously, it is what it is. And as far as Raquel and Roxanne go, they did get their rematch. They did get their rematch a few weeks later after SummerSlam, but they could not get the job done. So I think because that Liv Morgan has the women's world title, and Dominic Mysterio now has the AAA Mega Championship, I think it's definitely time for Roxanne and Raquel to get those tag titles back, and I think now would be the perfect time for JD to finally win his first title on the main roster, which could very may well be the Intercontinental title. Which, would that piss off Dominic Mysterio? Absolutely. 100% it would piss him off, but at least the title would be back in the Judgment Day. But yeah, so another team definitely would be the Judgment Day, and the third team might be a bit of an unorthodox pick, but Fatal Influence. People forget JC Jane is a 2-time NXT Women's Champion. She's a multi-time NXT Women's Tag Team Champion, and people also forget Fallon Henley is also a former NXT Women's North American Champion in her own right. And Lainey Reed, why she got called up, I've got no clue. In my opinion, I feel like it was a bit too a bit too early for Lainey Reed to get called up, because she had only been she had only been a part of NXT for a couple of years, and never won a championship in NXT at all. But it seems like WWE was impressed by how well she gelled with Fallon and JC, that they decided to put all three on the main roster on SmackDown. And we know that JC Jane is going after Rhea Ripley and the WWE Women's title. So why not have Fallon and Lainey go after the Women's Tag Team titles? Why not? Why not? I mean, to see Fatal Influence hold all the gold, it would be very interesting, to say the very least. However, I should also mention that there is an honorable mention, which would probably have to be Bayley and Lyra Valkyria, simply because they had an opportunity at last year's WrestleMania 41, but because that Becky Lynch attacked Bayley, that did not come to pass. And it would be so cool to see Bayley and Lyra become women's tag team champions. But I think, given what's happening now, I think it's a bit too soon. So between Fatal Influence, the Judgment Day, and Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, who should be eliminated from this trio? The first one up would probably have to be the Judgment Day, for one reason only. And it's actually not JD McDonough, it's not Dominic Mysterio, and it's not Raquel, it's not even Liv Morgan. It's actually Roxanne Perez. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're probably asking yourself, wait a minute, what does Roxanne Perez have to do with anything? What does she have to do with the Judgment Day regaining the tag team titles? That's the point. That's the point exactly. It's her loyalty. If they do get that opportunity, it's her loyalty to the Judgment Day that would decide everything. And yes, we have seen recently that every time both Raquel and Roxanne get involved in a tag team match, yes, we have seen Roxanne stay loyal to the Judgment Day, but maybe Finn Balor may have been right. Maybe Roxanne should not trust the Judgment Day in any capacity. And if I'm being completely honest, fans are liking Roxanne Perez as part of the Judgment Day. So it is possible that we could very may well see Roxanne Perez turn babyface and leave the Judgment Day, which honestly I'm all for it. I mean her heel run it's taken its toll. It's taken its toll, and I think it's about time to let this heel run its course. Like it already ran its course. So there's no point in keeping Roxanne as a heel anymore. So why not make her a babyface? And I mean, think about this: if she does become babyface, she could challenge Liv Morgan for the women's world title at a later time. Roxanne becomes champion, and then Liv and Raquel would have no choice but to go after the women's tag team titles, which again could ultimately be a sign that it's going to be the end of the Judgment Day as we know it, because the Judgment Day, it's not the same. It's not the same, because when the Judgment Day was Finn, Priest, Rhea Ripley, Dominic Mysterio, and JD McDonough, when it was them, they dominated WWE with an iron fist. We saw Finn and Priest go after the tag team titles. We saw Priest become Mr. Money in the Bank. Rhea Ripley becoming becoming the last ever SmackDown Women's Champion and the first ever Women's World Champion. We've seen we've seen Finn Balor go after the Intercontinental title. A lot has happened. A lot happened when it was just them. But now that it's Dom, JD, Liv, Raquel, and Roxanne, it's just not the same. So I feel like Roxanne would be better off as a babyface than she would be a heel. So because of that, that only leaves two teams: Fatal Influence and Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. Interestingly enough, Charlexa have had their issues with Fatal Influence already, and I think it's safe to say that if there was a number one contenders match between these two, it would be based on who has the numbers game. The answer is obvious: Fatal Influence. Fatal Influence have had the numbers game for the longest time. Even when they were a part of NXT, they always used the numbers game to their advantage, which was the whole reason why JC Jane shocked the world and became the first woman to defeat Stephanie Vaquer and become NXT Women's Champion, not once but twice. So think about that. Think about that. Fatal Influence have had a tendency to shock the world. I think this time they could shock the world again. So if I were to make a bold prediction, I think it would have to be. I think personally it would have to be Fatal Influence because if there was one team that could take the tag team titles off of Paige and Brie Bella, it would definitely have to be Fatal Influence, and the question would then lie on. The question would end up being, what would be next for Brie Bella and Paige? Could we see them get their own rematch, or could they end up going their separate ways over time? No one knows. But if you guys feel like that I am wrong and you think that someone else should take that opportunity, let me know down in the comments below. And let me know your thoughts on this whole ordeal. And that'll do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more WWE topic videos in the future, then be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and as always, make sure you guys are following me on all of my social media. All of my ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.